Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a crime action film called GABBAR is Back. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with Aditya, alias GABBAR, sitting before his computer, earnestly looking at the database of government officials on his screen while the rain pours and thunder rumbles. That we see people watching Deviant's show among the crowd is a corrupt collector. After spotting a gorgeous lady in the populace, the corrupt official follows her outside. Then the lady pushes him inside a caravan and quickly leaves. At the same time, a married couple's sleep is disturbed when a group of intruders breaks in only to take the husband. Concurrently, two men throw a guy out of a moving train and a car is already waiting for him. Following that, telephones at the police station ring simultaneously. Callers are reporting abductions of 10 collectors across Maharashtra. Authorities immediately implement checkpoints in every corner of Maharashtra, looking for lead or evidence. 3 days after the incident, the media cornered the minister, asking about their plan to find the collectors. The minister arranged a special task force headed by Commissioner Pant to lead the case. Shortly after, they received the news of the collectors returning to where they were kidnapped. However, only 9 collectors returned. Later on, they find the 10th collector publicly hanging in the street with a case file on his neck. The media and citizens gather around the scene, taking pictures and murmuring. After putting the body down, the police listen intently to the tape that comes with the file as they listen to a mysterious man named GABBAR, and he plans to expose corrupt officials every Friday. Despite the head chief not wanting to leak the CD, GABBAR already sent the CD to the media. He scattered the clip in every corner of the country and shared it online, so it gathers the attention and curiosity of the people. At the headquarters, the superiors are arguing how GABBAR accessed the personal information of the collectors, including their corrupt deeds. One thinks that there is a mule, while the other suggests that a team of 10 people did the kidnapping as they happened simultaneously. Constable Sadhu shares how the kidnapping is done by an organization, not a team, and operates in the city when his superiors dismiss his viewpoint while belittling him. Meanwhile, students gather in front of Professor Aditya as he teaches them about the 5 elements of force when a group of bandits barges into the school grounds, putting themselves into power and commanding the school to be closed. Outside the campus, the bandit confesses that they are there to avenge their deaf collector. However, the dean determinedly tells them that the college must not shut down, angering the bandit leader, so he instructs his men to break everything and tries to hurt the dean. Suddenly, Aditya stops his hand in the air and swiftly beats them while continuing his lesson. After that, Aditya says that even the police cannot put their feet on college grounds. Furious with Aditya's last statement, the goons come back with a backup to break the college gate, but Professor Aditya quickly stops them and briskly brawls them, leaving them suffering in pain. That night, Aditya unexpectedly meets Shruti while driving. Shruti stops his car to help her pregnant friend to get to the hospital. Stunned by Shruti, Aditya could only obey Shruti's instructions when the lady's water breaks. Aditya steps out of the car as per Shruti's command while she delivers the baby. Shortly after, Shruti calls him to show the baby, and Aditya's eyes start to swell looking at it. Shruti confusingly looks at him before getting back the baby, instructing him to drive to the hospital. At the hospital, Aditya stays outside, looking at the health personnel assisting before going back to his car. At the headquarters, the officers wonder how the collectors lost their memory. So Sadhu respectfully tries to tell them his idea, but they mockingly cut him off like before. Insulted by the officers' actions toward him, Sadhu decides to take a medical leave to solve the case and find GABBAR to earn his inspector's cap. Meanwhile, while Aditya minds his business, he unexpectedly sees Shruti denting her boss's car with her scooter. He watches from afar as Shruti lies to her boss that his driver is the one at fault. Suddenly, Aditya intervenes and informs the boss of the truth, leaving Shruti with no choice but to pay the damage. In a new CD recording, GABBAR threatens the corrupt officials at the Public Works Department that they will be exposed. After that, Sadhu is informed that all corrupt officials in PWD quarters stop receiving bribes because of GABBAR. Seconds later, he receives a report that GABBAR has sent another CD to the police. Because of his bold actions, GABBAR is the talk of the town, creating panic among corrupt officials. On the other hand, the police worriedly wonder who will be exposed as they believe the 2,000 PWD officials will not admit to being corrupt. Surprisingly, PWD corrupt officials crowd the police station and they confess their deeds in exchange for protection. However, GABBAR deceives them and kidnaps the district collector. Tied in a chair inside of an abandoned warehouse, the district collector arrogantly talks to GABBAR. GABBAR replies with a smirk that reads the names of the farmers who committed suicide because of him. The river water that was supposed to be for farmers was diverted for sugar factories and private sectors because the minister bribed the district collector. GABBAR angrily argues how the district collector could have saved the farmers' lives if not for corruption. The district collector desperately begs for his life, but Gabbar is determined to end corruption and publicly hangs him. As requested by Shruti, Aditya attends the baby's naming ceremony. After giving his gold chain necklace, Aditya carries the child in his arms and looks at him as his child. Suddenly, the baby poops on him. Outside, Shruti casually talks to Aditya as if she knew her, and after that, the two of them start seeing each other frequently. Meanwhile, Sadhu's investigation progresses as he gets a tip from a friend about honest officers in a government department trying to find their connection. On the other hand, Shruti is with Aditya again, walking in the road when she gets hit by a scooter. At a private hospital, doctors insist on various expensive tests for Shruti's minor injury. While in there, Aditya witnesses the cruelty of the hospital, insisting on unnecessary operations for money and forbidding people to see their loved ones without paying the bills. At the civil hospital nearby, Aditya watches as the poor woman mourns her deceased husband and realizes the opportunity to expose the private hospital. Aditya checks in on the dead husband, and immediately, the private hospital makes Aditya pay for unnecessary tests, medicines, and a neurosurgeon. They pull this act for hours before telling Aditya that he is dead. Fed up by their immoral acts, Aditya shows them the hospital death certificate for the deceased, demands to pay the wife 500 million rupees for their actions, and instructs them to call their boss, all captured secretly on the phone. Unable to get his father's help, the owner decides to face Aditya, planning to hurt him. However, Aditya beats them up and threatens to release the video to the media if they disagree with his terms. Defeated, the owner submits to Aditya's demands, but Aditya double-crosses them. He releases the video to the media, causing an angry mob protesting to shut down the hospital. That is the scene that welcomes the owner upon his arrival. Cornered by the crowd, he tries to scare them by firing his gun, but they beat him to death. The hospital owner's father, Digvijay, arrives at his property, enraged and determined to find Aditya to avenge his son's death, but no one knows anything about him. Meanwhile, Sadhu is at the barbershop listening to a guy conversing with his friends about a college reunion and realizes the connection among the honest officers he is investigating. Back at the hospital, Digvijay astoundedly looks at Aditya's face from the CCTV, in disbelief of his own eyes as he believes that he killed Aditya 5 years ago. At the same time, Sadhu finds out that all those honest officers went to National College. With a strong lead, Sadhu comes back to work and asks his superior for another leave to catch Gabbar, but they sadistically dismiss Sadhu's initiative. In the meantime, while attending a wedding, Aditya starts to reminisce about his late wife, Karina, how their married life started with joyfulness, expecting their child when a tragic incident happens. Karina was playing with a child, but the building suddenly collapsed, causing her child, and other people's deaths. It turns out Digvijay designed the building. Wanting justice, Aditya files a complaint about the faulty building and calls different government officials, informing them of Digvijay's accountability for the installation. However, every one of them disregards his words because Digvijay bribed them. Digvijay's men mockingly give an apology to Aditya while Digvijay tries to bribe him. Insulted by Digvijay's response to him, Aditya beats Digvijay and his men fatally, closely ending Digvijay's life. But Aditya refuses to kill him and walks away. However, Digvijay attacks the unaware Aditya with an axe, leaving him unconscious, and Digvijay feels triumphant, thinking he killed Aditya. Back in the present, while Aditya is studying corrupt officials with his students, he receives the news that a CBI officer has employed in order to apprehend him. At the same time, the CBI officer boldly expresses his disappointment to the police department for their incompetence regarding Gabbar's case. While instructing the police to give him every data they have on Gabbar, an officer barges in, holding another CD from Gabbar. All the officers gather, intently listening to Gabbar's threat. With the help of the CBI officer, the police force protects every government department, waiting to see who will be abducted. But Aditya boldly kidnaps corrupt police officers. Noticing Gabbar's pattern, the CBI officer asks for the most corrupt police officer, Gaur, and warns him to be alert as Gabbar is after him. Cocky as he is, Gaur ignores the CBI officer's advice, while Aditya slowly approaches him, using a funeral service as a deception to kidnap him. The CBI officer immediately employs checkpoints everywhere, but Aditya is one step ahead of them. Wearing a police uniform, Aditya and his men pretend to be police officers at a checkpoint and stop a police officer from discovering Gaura's unconscious body inside of a casket. However, while Aditya deceives the police, Shruti unexpectedly spots him and wonders about Aditya's plan. The now awake Gaur desperately tries to free himself from Gabbar's men at the cemetery. At the same time, Shruti cautiously watches Aditya and his men holding Gaur, when one of Aditya's men catches Shruti and brings her to him. Aditya quickly instructs his men to put Gaur away and reveals his true identity to Shruti. A flashback to when Digvijay leaves Aditya's unconscious body to death in the middle of the road, but a bus full of medical students finds him and saves his life. Seeing the visionary and honest characteristics of the youth, Aditya decides to let the students join his plan to put an end to nationwide corruption and train them. Back to the present, Gaura's son excitingly delivers the good news of people treating Gabbar as a hero on every social media platform. However, no one reacted, which confuses Gaura's son. Gabbar finally breaks the silence to inform Gaura's son that his father is at the top of the list of corrupt police officers. Gaura's son is surprised by the revelation, but he is determined to continue what they have started. Hence, he gives his permission to Gabbar to expose his father, except he wishes not to see his father suffering. Meanwhile, at the police headquarters, the CBI officer bemusingly discusses the case with Sadhu's superiors, who cannot provide any insight. Seeing the opportunity, Sadhu starts to share his findings from his investigation while his superiors belittle him. Fed up by their continuous downgrading of him, Sadhu resigns on the spot and continues to share information he has about Gabbar with the CBI officer. Now in charge, Sadhu discloses every data he gathered from his investigation to his superiors and the CBI officer. All of them are listening intently to him. Amazed by Sadhu's investigation, the CBI officer wonders why it took him so long to disclose the information. Quoting his superior's words, Sadhu replies that he's just a driver, while his seniors bow their heads, ashamed. Altogether, the CBI officer, Sadhu, and the police force stand tall outside of the National College. The entirety of the students stands firm that neither the police nor bandits are allowed inside the school grounds. The CBI officer wants to use force to enter the school gate, but Sadhu stops him because it will only cause chaos. Realizing a loophole, the CBI officer instructs the police force to find students of National College in every part of Maharashtra and forcefully arrests them. Meanwhile, Digvijay abducts 10 honest officers, all in favor of Gabbar's style. He kicks one officer to the edge of his building, causing sudden death, so the others scaredly and quickly sign his building's permits. Digvijay sees Gabbar's action as an opportunity, because now he does not need to bribe officers to favor him, he only needs to threaten them. On the other hand, the CBI officer struggles to get information on Aditya's students, despite being beaten up by the police. The useless superior's incompetence strikes again, unable to give insights. So Sadhu steps in and emphasizes that they should think like Gabbar. Digvijay killed an honest officer for refusing a bribe, so Sadhu thinks Gabbar will come after him, both for killing a righteous man and creating fear in innocent lives. After that, the police get to work and find out that Digvijay is throwing a birthday party for himself the next day. Meanwhile, Digvijay's men find a lead on the whereabouts of Gabbar and attempt to find him, only to be welcomed by a room full of Aditya's students waiting for them. Digvijay celebrates his birthday with the CBI officer and the police at his house, while his followers worship him. They chant all together, wearing a mask with Digvijay's face and the same clothes as him. Before Digvijay blows his cake, he spots Aditya in the middle of the crowd and quickly informs the CBI officer and his men about it. The police immediately look for Aditya, leaving Digvijay unprotected, while Aditya and his men corner him. After successfully kidnapping Digvijay, the whole place turns into chaos as gunshots fire in the air, creating panic among Digvijay's followers. The police force tries to find Aditya in the crowd, but desperately fails as Aditya has already left the place. The next day, Shruti brings her legal team to the police station, insisting that the students' parents see their children. One of the students captured is Gaura's son. So when the CBI officer sees that Gaura's wife is in the room with them, he asks her to convince her son to confess everything he knows about Gabbar. Instead of doing the CBI officer a favor, Gaura's wife insists that her son must not reveal anything. Astounded by the turn of events, the CBI officer wonders what makes Gabbar so special. So Shruti tells him that Gabbar had to make himself a vigilante for the sake of ordinary people, because the law does not favor them. The CBI officer realizes that Shruti knows Gabbar personally based on her words, while Sadhu's views on Gabbar change. Meanwhile, Aditya smirks to himself, thinking about the police's foolishness for not finding Digvijay in his own home. Aditya reveals that he is Gabbar to Digvijay and lets him call anyone he wants to tell them about the kidnapping. Digvijay starts with the minister, then the police department, where Sadhu picks up the call, both refusing to be involved. After that, Digvijay angrily engages in a violent fight with Gabbar, but Gabbar is much stronger than him because of his physique. Digvijay struggles to escape Gabbar and repeatedly says sorry. But Gabbar does not listen to him and tosses him to the pool, killing him. The day after that, Aditya goes to the police station to surrender himself, gathering everyone's attention. Aditya openly confesses his killings to the police station, taking accountability for his acts and requests that his students be released. After that, every part of the country participates in the protest demanding Gabbar to be free. Cornered by the mob, the CBI officer asks Gabbar to talk to his students, and he does. Standing on top of the police car, Gabbar speaks about how the youth could change their future by getting their voice heard and ending corruption. The movie ends with Shruti breaking down into tears while Gabbar calmly accepts his death by being hanged. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.